So once again, welcome back to uh, session 2 of day 5 of the FDP Next Gen AI training. And the topic of this session is AI and cybersecurity. And the resource person is Dr. Satheesh Kumar. Dr. Satheesh has more than 25 years of experience in the field of information technology. For the last 20 years, he has been working in the area of cyber forensics as a forensic expert as well as an R&D engineer in CDAC Trivandrum. He currently holds the position of Associate Director at CDAC. And his area of specialization is smart device forensics. With his leadership, different commercial forensic tools have been developed and deployed to various law enforcement agencies in the country. He is also a famous trainer in the area of cyber forensics. And we are quite happy to have a resource person like you in our FDP of Next Gen AI training. And from the Department of Computer Science and Engineering, Rajiv Gandhi Institute of Technology, let me welcome Dr. Satheesh Kumar for an insightful session about cybersecurity and AI. Thank you.
Thank you, Shibu sir. Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So let me upload my presentation first. Good evening all. Is it possible to see that presentation?
The screen is visible, but it is like an infinite mirror. The presentation has not come.
Okay. Please give me some 2 minutes. Sir. Is it visible now, Shibu sir?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Good evening all. First of all, let me thank Shibu sir and Head Department of Computer Science, Rajiv Gandhi Institute of Technology, for inviting me to this FDP Faculty Development Program on next generation AI training, FDP on models, methods, and machines. I know that this is not a right time to discuss because it's a time for dinner and all for everyone. But for anyway, the organizers are arranged this in this way. So kindly bear with me. I will finish quickly. What is so today? I will discuss what are the privacy issues that we are facing in artificial intelligence. Of course, this training itself is meant for understanding what are the methods by which we can make use of artificial intelligence. Because one way or other way we are using artificial indirectly or directly, that we are part of the artificial intelligence machines or system, because actually we are giving unknowingly the information for training the artificial intelligence machines for refining it. That's why I'm telling that we are part of the artificial intelligence. Now, why such a topic? Because actually everyone is trying to work on research on making use of artificial intelligence in creating new technologies, or identifying new methods in the existing technologies to get maximum efficiency or maximum outputs. At the same time, the privacy part is given least preference, or nobody is care. Not is actually it is not taking in the due respect the privacy. This is important issue, because I am working in this area. I am getting cases regarding this. That is why I can tell this. Even though we are all using, of course, artificial intelligence machines, or let us say ChatGPT, for getting more information regarding a topic, even the academicians, they are making use of it. Unknowingly, we are sharing many informations to the system, which this ChatGPT and all is using for refining the system for making better results. In that way, they are using it, but actually, they are taking this information for some other business, and also some other purposes. Of course, I will discuss that. So anyway, actually, we are in an era where we are making use of artificial intelligence. At the same time, we are losing all the informations, all our personal as well as our sensitive informations. It's this so-called technology for identifying new methods or identifying solutions. Actually, we will say the solutions. So that is a topic that I am going to discuss, and I will just go through how the AI interacts with the data, because otherwise data it is nothing. And we will discuss the key privacy risks in using artificial intelligence. And third one, challenges in balancing AI and privacy. And we'll go through the cutting edge solutions, which this privacy, we can make use of the privacy at the same time. In the sense, we can use the privacy, we can use a way in which we can get the maximum output from the artificial intelligence in a keeping of personal or other information, private informations hidden. And I will quickly go through that DPDP Act also, because it is also important in this privacy and all. And what are the actions for individuals, business, and governments. So these are the things that I will discuss today. Now, let me go through the definition, but everyone may be aware of what is.
Sorry to interrupt, Dr. Satheesh. Are you running the slideshow? It is we are seeing only the title slide. Like it's a PowerPoint that we are seeing, not the slideshow.
Let me see.
And now I think it.
But what about now?
It's the second slide. Still we see that PowerPoint, not actually the full screen slideshow.
Let me check.
Probably you are projecting the wrong window.
Let me see that. So what about now?
Still the same.
Same.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, slides are moving, but we are seeing that PowerPoint also.
Let me check. I will share in another way. Otherwise, I will stop sharing first. Sir, what about now?
Now it is okay.
It's, I mean, moving now.
Yes.
Okay. So I think this second slide has not been there for you to see.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay. So anyway, this I already discussed, and these are the goals of this presentation. Now, let me go to the definition that is given in the Article 3 of the AI Act 2024 by the European Communications European Commission. Actually, why I am taking this this definition is it covers a lot of things. Probably you might have seen some standard definitions in the scientific thing and all. In the legal side, actually, this is the standard definition which is given that I would like to share with all of you. So AI is a machine-based system that is designed to operate with varying levels of autonomy and that may exhibit adaptiveness after deployment, and that for explicit or implicit objectives infers from the input it receives how to generate outputs such as predictions, content, recommendations, or decisions that can influence physical or virtual environments. Actually, this one is taken as a standard definition for legal aspects. That is why I am sharing this. It has 7 components, 7 elements in. Basically, the first one is it's a machine-based system. So that clarifies everything. Human intelligence will not come with this. It's a machine-based system. It's a combination of hardware and software system designed to operate with varying levels of autonomy. Then comes it. It's an autonomous system. So there is no interaction with the human things here. The machine can take decisions with respect to the data which is given for training. So it is an autonomous system, and that may exhibit adaptiveness after deployment. That is very important. For example, suppose if you develop a software for a computer, we are installing it, and we know that this particular software is working for what are the functions that we have defined. So that is a normal computer system works. But you know, here the definition has come like in this way that after deployment, it is adaptive in the sense that, see, if we have trained a system and if the system gets more data during this, I mean, its course of working, then it can change itself. It can redefine or it can refine things, or it should decide in such a way that what should I do. So that way also it can work. So whatever things that is supposed to do it may not actually be done in that way that we prefer. It can decide its own way. That is why it's an autonomous system. It is an adaptive system. And for explicit and implicit objectives, of course, in sometimes you can define what should be done, but most of the times there are implicit objectives also. It will be done by this artificial system, and it infers from the inputs it receives how to generate outputs. Such as, of course, that is known to all. Content recommendations, etc. And that the final thing is that it can influence physical or virtual environments. That is very important thing. No, in a normal computer system, if you develop a software for a computer system, even this thing is having some intelligence, you know, it cannot influence the physical or virtual environments. Nowadays, if you look at the virtual environment, like for example, let us say the cybercrime, there are many things, you know, which will act like an actor for committing crime. We may feel that this is done by a particular person, but normally it is not done. It may be some artificial intelligence machines which will be doing this particular crime, and then the police, who will arrest the police? That is a major question nowadays we are facing. So we are living in such a situation that anybody can create any kind of things using artificial intelligence, which will work against our normal normal living kind of things. And finally, when we go for some complaints to the police or the court, the situation is going to happen is that no one will be the the suspect. Of course, we may reach a particular machine and all, we cannot actually identify the culprit. That is the situation that we are living. So let me go to the key processes in A. These all are known to you, but actually this is required for my later information sharing things. So of course, learning, everybody knows that learning is a basic thing that happens in artificial intelligence, learning from data as well as experience. And reasoning, of course, it will think logically depends upon the data that it has been given for training, and it will try to do the solving of the problems given to this particular system. It has a perception kind of things using sensors. It is also having sensors, and it will create results or outputs. Depends on the perception of the we cannot say it is thinking by itself, but actually from experience and training data it can come to a conclusion kind of things. The natural language understanding, of course, whatever you type, and it will come to understand what is the meaning of your information, and it will give you the results accordingly. Then planning and decision making, and finally the acting, taking real world actions. These are the key processes actually happening in artificial intelligence. Now let us go to the importance. Whatever things that is to be done by the system, it has to have the data. Without data, nothing can be done. So AI learns information, AI learns things from the data, and this data helps AI make smart decisions also. More, if you train the system with the more data, of course, you will get better results. And also another major important thing that I would like to share is data makes AI personal. That is an important thing. Suppose you are constantly using that GPT, it will come to I mean, give you a conclusion that you are such a person, you will have this kind of behavior, what you will do and what you will type, everything. So it will come to know that what you are. That is the thing. So data makes a personal, and it will give you the information what is actually your requirement. Accordingly, the AI will give you the your requirements, and that way we can say that they will take us to the way that they want it. So that data makes a personal, and without data there is no AI. Now, actually, what type of data is used in artificial intelligence? Of course, the personal identifiable information, PII, like name, address, contact numbers, your ID card, Aadhaar card numbers, or bank account kind of things. So everything that is used for identifying a person, that is personal identifiable information, should be there for training in some of the things, and it will be there in the data for, the system forever. Then behavioral data, like your click patterns, your purchase history, and online activity. These are all, it's not to you, and this behavioral data is there in this particular system, and that will make use of further activities and for even for business activities. Then biometric data, fingerprints, iris scans, facial features, location data, that is real-time and historical GPS information, audio, video, audio visual data, your voice record, photos, videos, feeds, and sensitive information like medical records, financial data, academic results, etc. So maybe if you identify more information, that can also be there in the category of this data in the artificial intelligence system. Then let us go to the major sources of data for AI. Of course, sensors and cameras are the one of the major resources for this training. There they will get images, sounds, and other environmental data, and they can be these data can be used for training and refining the system. Of course, self-driving cars are working based on this kind of data only. And internet and websites, of course, that does not need any explanation. Then social media, like shares, posts, which is you are doing on Facebook, Twitter, and all. And even many of us share our personal pictures, like in the WhatsApp, either through DP or through status. Wherever you go, suppose you are going in a new place, or new in the sense as a tourist. Suppose you are going to some place. The moment you go there, you'll try to share this information to everyone in your your network by uploading the information as a status or by DP. These data are all that this is uploaded in the server of the this Meta or Zuckerberg server. This is used for training even AI and other things, your personal data. And this personal data, some of the time the ladies' pictures, and that many illegal activities, they are taking it for that, the dark web, what is happening. Hello? Hello? Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible. There was some
sound?
disturbance. There was some disturbance, but
okay.
Okay.
So the point is that whatever that you are sharing on the social media is actually finally going to the these kind of artificial intelligence systems. Then mobile phones and apps by which we can, it will be sharing the location, activity, usage. Many of you are using the health apps, health apps for, say, for you may be walking, you may be running, and 45 minutes, and that data you will give, the app will give you the information like, no, this much calorie has been got. But this particular thing, unless service is connected to the internet, it won't work. You know that this information directly going about your data, I mean, your information directly going to a server, and saying that this is, modern health apps are giving information even about your health conditions, like if you have any issues during this, when you do this kind of thing. So that information will given to a medical companies and all, by which these persons will one way or other way come to you. That is a major thing happening in the system, in the industry. Then surveys and forms, user opinions, preferences, and customer feedback kind of thing. Database reports, and e-commerce transactions. So these are the major sources of data that is going to the artificial intelligence system. Now let us come to the point, our point, that is data privacy. So this refers to the ethical and legal responsibility of protecting personal information from unauthorized access and misuse. And this is called the data privacy in a standard definition. If you look at the definition itself, it's a protecting personal information from unauthorized access and misuse. You know that. So the previous point I was sharing is that you are sharing your pictures with the WhatsApp, even your personal pictures with your family or with some friends, kind of thing. These are your personal information. You know that. But this is you are sharing with a third party, and this third party, without your consent, they are using this thing for training. We will say it is for training, but training in the sense it's for business solely. So without your consent, they are taking your entire data, entire information. So it ensures that personal data is, the data privacy ensures that personal data is collected transparently with informed consent. That is actually the standard thing that should happen. If somebody is taking your picture for their purpose, their training purpose, even if it is a legal system, suppose the police is asking you your pictures from your phone. In US there is a rule, like suppose the police is taking your mobile phone for example, identifying the contacts. So this suspect has the right to give only the contacts, not any other information from his phone. You think of a situation in India. Suppose the police is coming to you and they are taking your phone for some purpose. Can you say that? No, you should take it for this purpose only. You should not. So that is the thing. So collected transparently with informed consent, then processed fairly and used only for specified purpose, and stored securely with adequate protection. Even if they take the data, it should be protected with adequate protection mechanisms, not transferred, sold, or exposed without permission. Then only we can say that our data is is published, or it is in a protected way, or our privacy is kept. Now, why the data privacy matters? First one is there are data breaches. Sensitive data can be leaked or hacked. That is very important thing. Second one is that mass surveillance. I will tell you some situations like wherever you go. Suppose your home is not having this CCTV. Suppose you have the privilege of not having it. But if you go out, the moment you are going out of your house, the next house may have this CCTV, so there onwards you are tapped. So whatever things that is happening, suppose your home is not installed with the CCTV, is storing this particular server, and this server is a server which is connected all the way to the internet, and who knows that this data is not taken by the persons who are acting remotely and installing some malwares in this particular server and taking the data. So mass surveillance is one of the major type of resource for training the information, and they are making use of this information. So whatever you are doing, the very act that you are doing, with say, suppose you are taking your hand like this, that will be recorded. So your movement, everything is recorded. That is mass surveillance is happening. That is the case of a particular house. Suppose you go to the railway station, you go to the bus station, you go to the college, you go to anywhere. Say anywhere mass surveillance is there. Your track and your entire data is there. What is happening is known to the person who is listening to you. like the big companies and all. The targeted misinformation or advertising. So with this information, so what they can do, they can manipulate the data, and they can either manipulate or they can make it for some other purpose also, either business purpose or from monetary purpose. Like I will tell you a simple example. Suppose this is Onam is coming. So if you look at some big, say, I mean, let us say in Onam, what we will do mainly do for purchase clothes and all for our friends and relatives, kind of things, and they will have some say kind of lucky trip and all. This where they will ask for some information. That information is actually correct information they are getting. We will never try to use false information there. Your phone number, your name, your address, everything will be given. One thing. I'm living in Trivandrum. There is a shop called Pothis. Lakhs of people are coming here, and this lakhs of data, personal data, they are getting. This data has value, and they are selling it. That is the reality. And actually, if they are, giving the first price, for example, a Honda City car, even then they will get more than that margin for the data, because it's a personal data. It is pure data without any errors, because everybody is trying to get that particular car under, so they will give that specific information. That is what is happening in the industry. So users unaware of how and where the data being used, the loss of control, and the bias and injustice, that is another thing. So inaccurate data can lead to discriminatory decisions, and I will come to that point later. The legal penalties and public backlash, and reputational and financial losses are happening because of these privacy issues. Now, why it is risky? Of course, you all know that the integration of AI into daily life. Without AI, there is no. Even if we are not, you say I'm not using directly that AI, but you may be using indirectly that AI. If you are a mobile user, of course, AI is with you. So in our daily activities, and we are one way or other way connected to this AI, and we are seriously seriously affected to the privacy issues that is posed by the artificial intelligence system. Some of the realities I will share, like the Cisco survey in 2024 revealed that 48% of businesses have entered non-public company information into generative AI tools. 48% of business have entered non-public company information into generative AI tools. And 69% are worried these tools could damage their intellectual property and legal rights. And a single breach could expose the information of millions of consumers and leaves organizations vulnerable as a result. That is a reality. Even if you say that your personal informations are up to you only, you have not shared anywhere this information, that is not the real case. Your pictures, your name, your confidential data, even your credit card numbers. Recently, I will share you that an information like this one. So in the dark web, more than 1 million credit card numbers and corresponding PIN numbers are available. This was a discussion, that information that we got when we have a meeting with the police headquarters. So this kind of information is happening. It is there in the dark web. It is available actually. How this happened? Because we are sharing the information for purchasing things through our website, and even though they are telling that they are not sharing it, there may be actors in the website. That websites and all that will take your information. So 9 in 10 IT leaders they are concerned about the security risks associated with AI tools. Even though there are, of course, we are using many artificial intelligence tools for our betterment of our daily activities. Like even you are using teaching, academicians make use of this thing. There are also some leakages happening. So data leakages using AI, I will share that. One is a main thing that everybody knows: Cambridge Analytica scandal. Collected personal data from up to 87 million Facebook users and used for political campaign. This is not everyone. And facial recognition controversy that happened in 2018. Amazon's facial recognition system misidentified 28 US Congress members as criminals. That is a problem. Then that another flaw in a health app, personal data leak. What happened is there is an app called Flow Health. this flow health is actually used for your period, for ladies, they may know that ovulation is an ovulation tracker. And this information has been shared to Facebook, Google, Flurry, and Apps Flare. This is for the business purpose in 2021. And there was a huge data leak in Samsung. After that, this ChatGPT was banned in Samsung company. This employees accidentally leak confidential information by using ChatGPT. Then Chevrolet chatbot offered car for $1 in 2023. So much of amount has been lost to the company. And Copilot zombie cache exposure in 2024 access private GitHub repository and expose over 16,000 companies revealed sensitive tokens. And the latest thing that happened, ChatGPT data leak in by searching that that recently this was available in Google from the ChatGPT thing. So who are using the ChatGPT or DeepSeek or whatever it is, your profiling is there. Some way or other way, you will be giving your data for training also. So next is inference, getting more than you provide. AI can predict sensitive attributes beyond what users share. So even if you give minimum information, it is having algorithm inside that I would guess the maximum possible that even you cannot guess. The correlation and proxy variables are there actually. Religion, gender, health, status can be predicted through the correlation. Even if you are not sharing this information, definitely they will come to know that this is your religion, this is your gender, and this is a health status and all. And what time you use your phone or what videos you like and can act as a proxies for this. And deep pattern recognition. Facial analysis models can estimate a person's mood, age, or ethnicity using subtle cues. This I think everybody is know. Behavioral inference, inferring the political views from social media likes, and cross-platform data aggregation. AI get access to combined data from social media, browsing habits, wearables, voice assistants, and all. Creates a 360-degree user profile. See, in whatever way you behave, and they will get even your AI knows more than your spouse knows you. That is the thing. An app can predict your health. That I just discussed. Fitness app uses step count and location to flag potential depression. Even collects movement, sleep patterns, and all. Then they can identify whether you have a depressed person or not. Your emotional health also they can trace. The concern is the user did not expect to share this kind of information, but this is known to this AI, and they will send this to the medical field, and in due course they will come to you, or even they will send the ads which is intended to you, by which they will do the business. Now in workplace also, for hiring, credit scoring, and surveillance also the AI is using. For example, resume screening, AI is used. Video interviews is there. And for credit scoring and all, it is predicts repayment ability and an alternative data sources. And the area surveillance I all discussed, and facial recognition, behavioral prediction. Everything. So the risk is that the mass surveillance is there, and there can be discrimination also based on this information. And let us go to the home. Many of you are using voice assistants or smart appliances and in your or home security AI monitors for intrusions kind of things in your home. The concern is it is always on. It is connected to the internet. And the third is that unauthorized access or unintended recordings will be there. This thing will be connected to the internet server. You may be trying to access it when you are in the office or in the college, because it is connected now to the internet. This connection is more than enough for a perpetrator coming to your home through online and on a virtual and take the entire data. Now, why this raises privacy questions? Of course, because the data is taken without any consent, and we are not aware of the consent that it should be taken. The consent should be taken before taking it. So people rarely know scope of data use. And another thing is that AI models are often black boxes. Even if suppose I develop a model using the algorithms, existing algorithms, or new algorithms through my research I will do with the data training and all. Even then, I cannot probably explain how this works. It's a black box actually. Once you train the system, it's a black box. And with respect to the scale and speed of the work, with respect to the scale and speed, how fast it is working. It processes vast data faster than the loss adapt. faster than the laws adapt. Sometimes, our laws are not sufficient. We have IT Act, that. We have DPDP Act, but some cases that is happening in AI crimes, we cannot address this thing using our latest IT Act or DPDP Act. Now, what are the key privacy risks? I will share some of the risks. Around 10 risks are there. One is the mass data harvesting, collecting large amount of personal data from users, often without their knowledge or consent. Volume gathers data from millions of users. I will tell you information today. There is a news in the online news agencies that you might have gone through that OpenAI is opening their first office in New Delhi. That is the current news, today's news. Why? Because of the ChatGPT. If you look at the ChatGPT users, India is the second largest users of this ChatGPT. And ChatGPT is a mind sharing platform. I will say that whoever uses this ChatGPT, what is in their mind, actually it is taken by the OpenAI. They come to know that India is a huge market from which they can get the information and they can sell it out, or they can use it for some other purpose. So mass data harvesting is there. Now, data collection without consent. So many AI systems gather user data without express permissions. Users may not be aware their personal information is being collected, and data is collected in the background without transparency or user control. There is a software called Clearview AI. This collected more than 3 billion facial images from the internet. No user permission, used for law enforcement facial recognition, and fined in European Union and banned with multiple countries. Actually, this happened in Europe first. And then there is Google Assistant. Contractors access voice recordings and devices triggered without user intent, and privacy breach acknowledged by Google. And Strava fitness heat map. There is another thing. Aggregated user location data reveal military bases. Users unaware of data being made public. So that is the issue. So I share with the information that the dark web, there are this kind of information. Your credit card details are there. No, we don't know whether the information is used on the dark web or in any other websites and all. Unknowingly, it is happening in the behind, and some morning we'll come to know that our account is not having the money that we have put it there. So that way, finally we have to face these kind of issues. Without our knowledge or consent, the data is taken and they are making use of this and they are doing the business. Then unauthorized or secondary use of data. That is data use beyond its stated purpose. Sometimes, suppose they are taking with your consent the data and they are telling you the purpose also, but they can happen like it will be used for some other purpose, like medical data use. That is best example for this. The patient data collected for treatment is used to train commercial AI models without anonymization or consent. That is one thing. That voice assistant recordings, that everybody, we have Siri and all with us, and we will be using Siri or Alexa for many things. And recordings from smart assistants are reused to train speech recognition AI, even if user never agreed to this during setup. It is just like, I will tell you the simple thing that everybody may be using Truecaller, which is installed your personal phones for identifying the person who is calling you. This Truecaller is working in such a way that the moment it is installing in your mobile phone, it is taking their contacts from your mobile phone and you are giving the permission also. That is how it is working actually. When somebody is calling, it will check the database and that is how it happens. And there was a crime that happened actually, somebody who put the name of a bank and they saved his number and installed this Truecaller, and whoever calling is getting like this is a bank and all. And there was a crime reported in Kerala also in similar thing. And social media images. Photos uploaded on a social media are scrapped by companies to train the facial recognition systems, violating platform terms or user expectations. And student data misuses. If you look at the education technology tools and all, they collect classroom interaction data and later use it for targeted marketing or behavior profiling. Of course, there are many educational companies and software companies and that they are making use of. Definitely, they will make calls to us that we have data We have, we have software for your ward, and we can give you that way it works. So this information they are getting, the information regarding our wards, they are getting the information. You are not directly giving it. And sometimes, of course, you are thinking that we can think that it is not leaked from the schools also or colleges also, but finally it is reaching that persons. That is the reality. Of course, this I already told you that biometric surveillance, use of AI automatically identify, track, or analyze people using biological features like face, gait, fingerprints, iris, retina, and voice. Operates invisibly in public places. And centralized biometric database are high-value hacking targets. That is a major thing, no? Suppose you are going to a railway station. Of course, railway station is having this kind of thing. Airport is having this one. And this information are stored in servers. Now hacking is happening most of the times in this CCTV servers, so that they will get huge informations within no time, without any effort. There are some similar kind of things, in China's social credit surveillance. That is a software. AI-powered facial recognition system monitors citizens in real time. So they monitor the citizens in real time in China. Who knows, in India also this is happening. And India's use in policing. Delhi police use facial recognition technique during protests without legal safeguards. This was known to the newspapers and all. Then UK face scanning in public. Live trials of face scanning vans in London flag innocent people as criminals. So this is the end result of this kind of technologies. So sometimes the innocent people become the victim, or they become the criminals. And algorithmic bias and discrimination. Of course, AI works with algorithms, or without algorithm, there is nothing. And this algorithmic bias occurs when the AI systems make unfair or prejudicial decisions against certain individuals or groups, which can be based on race, gender, age, class, or disability. For example, if you look at this Alexa and all, often it fails to understand non-Western or regional English accents. Otherwise, unless service, we train that thing. So there comes the prejudice result and all. Then fintech apps have denial launched to user based on zip codes or device types. And models trained mostly on Western faces show error rates of up to 34% for darker skin individuals. That is the thing. Suppose if a system has been trained with a white person's data sets, a huge data set, then if we work it for a dark person's skin tone, it will not work. So bias is, it will create wrong results. So bias is not a bug actually, it is a mirror. If you don't build AI to challenge inequality, it will automate at its scale. That is a huge issue. Now, the profile-based manipulations. AI systems analyze the digital footprint, search history, likes, locations, spending, and behavior to create detailed personal profiles that are then used to influence your choices. Of course, this not you. That if you look at some particular searches, you will get ads related to it. Then target you with persuasive messaging and manipulation, political views or emotions, kind of things. Now, model inversion and data leakage. That is another risk. The serious privacy threat where an attacker uses a trained AI model to reconstruct or extract the original training data. That is a major issue. That is a major issue. Like, see, there is a provision that we what is actually available, the model, and we will try to make use of the model to get our results. And there is a provision, or there are incidents that happen to identify the actual trained data. Suppose you open the ChatGPT and the prompt, you try to ask you some data, it will not give you. It will say that there is no data for you. But there is a provision. There are provisions or methods by which people have identified exploits by which we can get the data, and it will reconstruct the data to the actual thing. So training data recovery, somebody is getting the training data, then of course this is another business. There is a sensitive information exposure, image reconstruction can be done. Of course, user prompt leakages is there, and membership inference attacks is also there. That is actually From this reconstructed data, we can identify, we can check whether a particular person is there in the data set or not. So that way we can identify. This is, this is not a simple thing. This is happening in the cyber crimes and all. And another thing is deepfake and disinformation. Of course, it's a technology that everybody is aware of it. That is happening. Even now, there are things happening in current issues are there. These deepfakes are hyper-realistic fake videos, images, or audio clips generated by AI, designed to mimic real people. And this is created using generative adversarial network GANs and all. And here, two pictures have shared that original picture and the deepfake picture. It looks the same thing. So the threat is actually it will it will create the identity theft and impersonation. That is a major crime. And non-consensual consensual pornography, political disinformation, financial fraud, geopolitical threats, erosion of digital trust. That is a major impact of this thing. Erosion of digital trust, and we will come to a situation that we will not trust the system, trust or even our computer, trust even our mobile phone. The trust will lose. So surveillance and evasion of surveillance evasion and spoofing, that is another thing. A real incident is there was a Zelensky deepfake video claiming that he agreed, he given to the Russia and all. This happened in 2022. The Pentagon explosion, hoax in USA 2023. Rashmika Mandana deepfake case in 2023 in India. A trailer deepfake video via Grok Imagine, that is in USA. And Crochet deepfake app lawsuit by Meta. This Meta service in all the Meta services. This Crochet deepfake app was there. It is related to the sex abuse kind of things. At last in 2025, they have filed, Meta have filed suits and this and is going on. Now AI is talking through visual clues. The use of AI-powered tools to extract sensitive personal information from photos, videos, or live streams, by which they will track the location, identify the identity exposure and pattern prediction and privacy invasion via surveillance. I will tell you some best example for this. It happened in Japan in 2019. A stalker tracked a pop idol called Ena Matsuoka via the eye reflection on a picture or a photo which she shared on the social media. So what he did actually, he tracked her. He tracked her down through the reflection in her eyes on a selfie she posted in social media and identified her train station. This was actually the picture. So he identified the train station and he navigated through the Google Street View to visually match the surroundings seen in her eye reflection. And he waited there, and he finally identified her and followed her to commit the assault. This is a famous crime. Notorious crime that happened in Japan. This lady, she just published a photo in the social media, and she had to face a lot for that. Now, chatbot data exposure that happened recently, that AI assistants can retain user input, possibly exposing. Even though you are telling that ChatGPT is not, it will say that if you try the ChatGPT, whether you ask a question like ChatGPT whether you are keeping my data, it will say no. But there is a data retention thing is there, and it will make use of this data and it will share this information. So recently, I think everybody is known, thousands of shared ChatGPT chats started appearing in Google search results, potentially exposing sensitive user data. So chatbot data exposure is the latest thing that is happening in AI and all. This exposure incident, I will just tell you some of the incidents. In 2020, Facebook AI internal testing, chatbot stored and revealed user personal information during personal identifiable information during experiments, and ethical oversight logging without consent, this type of exposure. And something that I shared before, then Google Bard early rollout responses included retraining data, fragments, possibly user data. Then OpenAI red teaming study, then McDonald's Oliva hiring bot, Meta AI prompt to ID flow, Meta contractor review. So these are some of the incidents that happened through the chatbot only. Then another one is agentic AI operating without oversight. If you look at the autonomous agent, it is a time of agentic AI, the next generation AI, next frontier AI, and autonomous agent bots that can take initiative, make decisions, and carry out tasks on its own. There is an agent inside that will take. Without your prompt, it will not wait for the prompt, it will work. And it can cause unintended harm or irreversible outcomes. There are some examples like Microsoft Say chatbot. So designed to learn from users and boost engagement on Twitter. Within 16 hours, it began posting racist and offensive content after absorbing toxic user input, forcing Microsoft to shut it down. Another one is 2010 flash crash. High frequency trading bots reacted to each other's sell orders, triggering a rapid $1 trillion stock market plunge in minutes before prices recovered. Another one is Uber self-driving car accident in 2018, USA. A misclassified a pedestrian with a bicycle, failed to apply brakes and struck the person, resulting in a fatality. Then night capital trading glitch in 2012 USA, a faulty high frequency trading algorithm placed massive unintended orders, causing $440 million losses in 45 minutes. And 2020 Libya autonomous drone incident. It's a UN report. A cargo 2 drone reportedly identified and attracted targets without human confirmation during conflict. Another risk is regulatory gaps and corporate misuse. Of course, we know that there are some rules and all, still it is not sufficient. And AI technology is developed faster than laws and enforcement can adapt. And I will tell you our rules. It happened recently, and it deploy AI without adequate safety or ethics checks, exploit weak or outdated legal frameworks, and operate in jurisdiction with a minimal oversight, and use AI in ways that are technically legal, no, but socially harmful. Some cases are Zillow AI hosting collapse. That is, Zillow's home pricing AI purchased properties at inflated prices, leading to over $500 million losses. Bias health risk algorithm, a widely used hospital AI underestimated healthcare needs of Black patients, prioritizing fewer treatments. And AI environmental impact model, industry AI systems projected lower pollution levels than reality, influencing weaker environmental policies. And these are the risks actually. Let us go to the challenges in managing privacy. Of course, our intention is that we need to manage privacy, but there are challenges. We cannot fully manage our privacy when you are using AI. Because the first reason is ubiquitous data collection. Of course, the moment I tell you, the moment you are coming, even you are in your home, it is your home assistants are connected to the internet. Constant and widespread gathering of personal data from nearly every digital interaction we make. And the concern is loss of privacy, lack of consent, data aggregation, commercial exploitation, impossible to opt out. Another challenge is that opacity of complex AI models. As I discussed, it's a black box and the models are often too complex to understand. Even developers can't even fully explain what is happening. Hidden data pathways are there, accountability gap is there, unnoticed purpose shifts are there, and invisible bias are there. This you cannot control because of the complexity of these AI models. And rapid technology versus slow laws. AI and digital technologies are evolving at an exponential pace, but regulation lags behind. And outdated laws cannot adequately manage the risk, ethics, and consequences. Still, there are issues, even though our laws are there. What is the law we apply and how we can convict a person is still a question. And data control and retention ambiguity. Users often lose control, data stored incidentally and reuse. The problem area is actually no ownership of clarity. Means data misuse or unauthorized access, undefined retention periods, and we don't know how long it will be kept. Data overexposure, increased risk of leaks. No deletion guarantee. See, suppose you are giving your data for training, who knows that it is deleting? And even if somebody is telling that it is deleting, there is no provision to delete it. Even though unlearning the system is very difficult, and privacy violations and regulatory And AI using old data, breach of consent, ethical misuse kind of things you can make use of. Then hidden bias in training data. So suppose if you are training the data with a bias thing, if you are using bias data for training, the result will also be biased. Unintended or unnoticed prejudices that exist in the data sets used to train AI models. Unfair decisions will be there. Discrimination becomes scalable, and false sense of objectivity and loss of trust. Next is difficulty in correcting or deleting data. Suppose you have already given the data, and later you want to correct it, you want to delete it, and who will do it? Is it possible? So erasing personnel does not guarantee model unlearning. The problem is user can't update or delete data, and data persists across systems. AI keeps forgotten data also. I will tell you this example. If you look at ChatGPT and you ask for how long you will keep the data, it will say the answer like, if you are if you are an unpaid user, it will keep for 30 days, and if a paid user, it will not keep the data. That is the answer they are giving. Then I asked, actually I tried this. I asked them why you are keeping the data for an unpaid user, because you need to have this storage mechanism for keeping it, and I am not paying. No, then he was say that this is for identifying if somebody is committing a crime. I have to get this thing so that I can pinpoint the person. Then I asked, after 30 days, suppose the case is coming, what I will do, what you will do? Then he's saying I am helpless. The point is that I don't have time. Otherwise, I will show you that in practically also. So the point is that actually, even though the system says that it is not using the data, it is actually using. And even though there is a mechanism by which we can check the settings also, we can deliberately tell that you should not use our data. You can make the settings also. Even then, it will use the data. And concealed conditions and terms. Of course, privacy policies are long, complex, and rarely read. So whenever a policy comes, no one will try to read it. They will click it. I agree, accept it. And hidden clauses in the policies will be there. Even in later, suppose you come to know that your data has been used for illegal activity. Then suppose your file sue. Even then, there will be policies that already they have published in the sense we have accepted the policies. Then they will say, this is the thing that you agreed, no? Then why you are doing this kind of things? This is happening. Then forced acceptance are there. AI does not disclose the things, and hard to read terms. Now, new attack vectors. In AI, there are new attack vectors also. AI models are vulnerable to adversarial attacks, is poisoning attack, inversion attack, and personal private data potentially reconstructed also. Adversarial inputs, misleading AI decisions, and data poisoning is there. I think everybody is aware of data poisoning, and even the your data set is manipulated in such a that the decision can also be biased. And deepfake attacks are there. AI exploits are there. That is another way now. So exploits are there in the AI. APIs will be there. We can, we can exploit the AI systems so that we will get the entire data. Then we can reconstruct the data set and we can identify the persons. And cloud misconfigurations are also there. Now, I will just discuss some of the solutions also. Nowadays, the AI is using federated learning. That is one thing. Training happens locally on the user devices. Only the model updates are shared. Raw data never leaves the device. Suppose you have a device with you, and you can train the system, train the model in your system itself, and can share the updates, and so that your actual data will be kept in your system only. Never it will be shared. It also reduces storage risk also. There are tools like TensorFlow federated. Maybe you may be using TensorFlow in your academic projects of your students or not, but there is something called TensorFlow federated. Then PySwift and Clever and FedML are there. The challenge is that the communication overhead is there, because we have to share this information to communicate, and data heterogeneity will be there because it is an independent individual mobile phones or individual personal personal computers it is happening. So there will be heterogeneity will be there. The security risks are there. Unless I use proper security tools, it will again go to the unintended persons, and device constraints are there. Next one is differential privacy. Differential privacy is actually a mathematical technique used to protect individual privacy when sharing information from large data sets. This is possible by actually adding some noise. Some noise is added to the actual result, then only it will go into the user. Then it will not be really viewable to the party, but actually there will be noise, so that actual data won't be used by the third party for again some other purpose. The strength is that the strong mathematical privacy proof is there, supports safer data sharing, reduces bias. There are some limitations like trade-off between accuracy and privacy, high computational cost and all. The tools which are used for this purpose are Google TensorFlow Privacy, PySwift, Smart Noise, IBM Differential Privacy Library, and PyDP. Another one is that edge computing and on-device AI. I think this is aware to you also. Edge computing data processing happens close to the source of data rather than in the centralized cloud or data center. On-device AI running AI models directly on local devices. And it has also strength like stored and processed locally, cloud dependency, minimal or optimal, very fast, real-time privacy is high. Limitations, limited processing power, storage limitation, etc. Tools are TensorFlow Lite. There is a software called TensorFlow Lite. You can make use of it. Core ML, OpenVINO, NVIDIA, Jetson platform, AWS IoT, Greengrass. So why I'm telling these tools and all, because actually these can be made use of the projects also, because it will be you can keep the privacy also. That way you can train the model. Explainable and trustworthy AI. Of course, explainable AI refers to AI systems that can clearly explain how and why they make decisions in a way that human can understand. And trustworthy means designing AI that is fair, transparent, accountable, reliable, ethically aligned, and privacy respecting. Actually, the future AI, there is as per the AI Act of European Union, they are telling that whenever you develop new AI systems and all, it should be explainable and it should be trustworthy also. So in a trustworthy AI, these are the things: fair, it should be impartial, robust and reliable. There should be privacy. It should be safe and secure. It should be responsible and accountable and transparent and explainable. So such an AI will be useful for the humankind. Otherwise, it will be just an application or just an AI system application. In the sense, definitely, we are the users of that application, which will use us as their data training equipments or data equipments. Of course, there is a definition that see who is giving the data. It's only us. Unless others speak with the data, there is no AI. So it is ultimately they are making use of us. They are the AI, the persons behind the companies behind the AI systems, and they are simply making use of the people. And tools for this purpose are actually Line, SHAP, IBM AI Explainability 360, and Google What If tool, and Microsoft Interpret ML. Now, another thing is that solution is that privacy by design and user consent. The privacy by design is a proactive approach to embedding privacy into the initial stages of the designing of the model and developing systems, products, and business practices. And there should be a policy of user consent also. The user has to given a document for getting his consent, and he has a right to be informed about what their data will be used, for what purpose or how it is used, agree to that use freely and withdraw that agreement at any time. That is another point. So suppose our data is taken for training, the people should have the right to take it back or withdraw the agreement at any point of time. The tools are TensorFlow Privacy, Microsoft Presidio, OpenMind, PySwift, Seldom, Alibi, Detect, and Consentia. Now, another methodology or the technique is homomorphic encryption for AI. And in this homomorphic encryption, AI tools will not decrypt the data. The encrypted data we can use for training, and the computation will happen on this encrypted data only, and only the user can decrypt it. That is homomorphic encryption. That is another method, and that will enable secure data sharing with external AI services. And the frameworks such as IBM, Layers, and Microsoft Seal and OpenFHE are some of the libraries and frameworks which uses this particular technology, homomorphic encryption. And another one is consent management and transparency tools. Consent management refers to the process and technology used to request, record, and manage a user's permission to collect, use, and share their personal data. That is called consent management. And transparency tools show what is happening with the user data. There are some tools I will share that information, like consent management. For consent management, there is a tool called OpenAI User Data Controls. Let's user opt in or that means if you look at ChatGPT, you go to the settings. There is a left left bottom corner. Settings is there. There you can go, and it will by default it will be on. Like by default it will be on means by default whatever you type on the ChatGPT, you can check it now also. Whatever you type it on the ChatGPT, that will be taken for training. Normally, we users are not aware of it, but we can disable it, and there is a provision by disabling it, and thereafter it is our belief that they will not use it, and who knows it, that is another thing. Then Google AI Privacy Dashboard allows users to review, download, or delete AI collected data linked to their account. There are some transparency tools also, like model cards summarizes an AI model's purpose, limitations, and the usage guidelines. There is another tool called IBM AI fact sheets. This explains AI system design, testing, risk, and maintenance for accountability. Now, there are some open source and auditable models also. Open source AI models means models whose code, architecture, and sometimes the training data are publicly available. And auditable model is one that provides transparency into how it was trained and how it functions. It actually keeps transparency, accountability, innovation, community oversight, and regulatory reasons. There are some models. This I think you may be aware of it. Language models. If you look at LLAM A2, it's an Meta AI. Then Mistra 7B, this Mistral AI, and Falcon 180B, that is TIA UAE based on. That is a language models. The vision models are also there. These are open source and auditable things. Stable diffusion, that is a stability AI. Clip, that is an open AI tool. Then SAM, segment anything, the Meta AI tool. For speech and audio, Whisper is there. Open Voice is there. Tools, frameworks. Hugging Face transforms. Hugging Face and the Rasa. So these are some of the open source tools by which we can we will come to know what at least to what purpose it is using, and some level of accountability is also there. And regulatory and governance frameworks, that is another method by which we can ensure that our data is used for good purpose only. For European Union, that there is a general data personal regulation act is there. That is happened in 2018, and recently this AI Act has come 2024, and there is another rule that is in USA, CCP and CPRA. There's a Consumer Privacy Act in California Consumer Privacy Act that first came in California. Then another one is DPDP Act, Digital Personal Data Protection Act in 2023 India. European AI Act 2024. This is the latest one from which I have taken the first AI definition, EU AI Act 2024. NIST RMF 2016 Act, that is AI Risk. National Institute of Standards and Technology, that is NIST, US-based standard. It's just like a company which should regulate the rules and all. The UNESCO's AI ethics is there. Then personal information protection law, China. These are some of the rules. Only these rules are prevalent across the world and countries. And now, if you look at many of the countries, they don't have even a rule for that to regulate these kind of things. Now, I will just briefly go through the Digital Personal Data Protection Act, India 2023. Just an overview only. The timeline is actually DPDP Act has passed in Lok Sabha on August 7, 2023. Then it came to Rajya Sabha and it was passed on August 9, 2023, and it was came to effect on August 11, 2023. So at present, this DPDP Act is prevalent in India. And what is the scope? This applies to the processing of digital personal data in India, digital personal data in India collected in digital form and non-digital form, then it is digitized. So it is applied to digital data as well as non-digital data which was collected, then it was digitized subsequently. Also applies to data processed outside in connection with any activity relating to the offering of goods and services to individual within India. It is applied to data processed outside. For example, you are trying to buy something from through e-commerce sites from outside India. There also it is applied. Does not apply to personal data. This particular rule does not apply to personal data which is processed by an individual for any personal or domestic purpose, and that has been made publicly available either by the individual to whom it relates or by third party as required by law. So this is actually the scope of this DPDP Act. There are some terms, some definitions, some jargons with this DPDP Act. First one is data. The data is defined as a representation of information, facts, concepts, opinions, or instructions suitable for communication, interpretation, or processing by humans or automated means. That is data. Then what is personal data? Any data about an individual who is identifiable by or in related to such data is defined as a personal data. So these are very important when you go for a suits and all. And there is digital personal data is also there. So personal data in digital form, which then the definition for the personal data is also applied. Then data fiduciary. Data fiduciary means any person who alone or in conjunction with the other person determines the purpose and the means of processing of the personal data. So that is data fiduciary. And data principal, that is important to us. Data principal is the individual to whom the personal data relates. So suppose a personal data, our personal data is used, then we are the data principal. And in case of a child or person with a disability, the term includes the parent or lawful guardian of the child. And data processor is also there. Any person who processes the personal data on behalf of the data fiduciary is called the data processor. Some of the jargons also there. I will just come through as and when it is required. Then, what is consent? There is another term defined in the law, is consent. A notice should be given to the digital data principal before collecting their personal data. As per our Government of India rule, suppose somebody is taking our data, we have been given a consent note. A person should be given to DP before collecting a notice should be given to us. The second is that notice must contain the details of data and purpose of processing. The data may be processed only for a lawful purpose after obtaining consent, and consent may be withdrawn at any point in time. And consent is not required for the purposes like data given voluntarily. Suppose you are giving data voluntarily, no consent is required. And provision of benefits on service by government. Suppose you are availing the service of the government and for which you are giving the data, then also it is you are supposed to give it because there is no consent required. Then medical emergency. Suppose you are admitted to a hospital and your personal data, your health records, your Aadhaar ID kind of things. There also no consent is required. Then employment data. There also no complaint. This consent is required. Then consent by parent or guardian for individuals below 18. So a child below 18, the parent has to give the consent. Then what are the rights and duties of data principal? So an individual whose data is processed has the right to obtain information from data fiduciary regarding processing. Actually, this data fiduciary is the agency who processes our data. So we are supposed to get the purpose of the data, the purpose of the processing of the data by the fiduciary. Seek for correction and erasure. Suppose we have actually given some data, we want to correct it, we want to erase it, then also we have the right to do that. And avail grievance redressal from the data fiduciary, and there is a board also. And nominate another person to exercise rights in the event of the death or incapacity. And the data principal must not register a false or frivolous complaint and at any context, and furnish any false particulars or impersonate another person as per law. And the obligations of data fiduciary. There is an agency or the data processing agency called data fiduciary, and the data fiduciary must make reasonable efforts to ensure the accuracy and completeness of data, build reasonable security safeguards to prevent data breach. That is very important. It is a duty of the data fiduciary to make sure that the data is not leak. So inform the Data Protection Board of India. There is a Data Protection Board of India, and they have to inform the board and affected persons in the event of a breach, and erase personal data as soon as the purpose has been met and the retention is not necessary for legal purpose. Then another one is significant data fiduciaries. Certain fiduciaries are designated as SDF, and depends on is happening. It depends on volume and sensitivity of the personal data they are processing, and the risk to the rights of the data principals, and potential impact on the sovereignty and integrity of India, and security of the state, risk to electoral democracy and public order. So in these situations, it will define a new person or new agency as a significant data fiduciary and to take care of the data that is shared by the people. Then additional obligations are they should appoint a data protection officer. He is the point of contact for grievance refusal, and appoint an independent data auditor. An audit should be happening for following the procedures and rules and all. Then undertake impact assessment and audit also. So these are the obligations of the significant data fiduciaries. And as I said, there is a data protection board in India. It's called Data Protection Board of India. The key functions include monitor compliance, conduct inquiry and impose penalty, and direct the data fiduciary to take mitigation measures in case of data breaches, hear grievances of the affected persons, and issue interim orders. So these are the functions of the Protection Board of India. The board shall have the power of a civil court. And suppose somebody is not happy with the court order, then he can go to the Telecom Dispute Settlement Authority Appellate Tribunal, and then finally it will go to the Supreme Court. And the civil courts cannot entertain suits under the Act. Normal civil courts, they will not take the suits with respect to the DPDP Act. And this is another penalties associated with the DPDP Act that we should know actually. A failure to take reasonable security safeguards to prevent personal data breach, then the penalty is up to 250 crores as per the rule. Failure to take reasonable security safeguards to prevent personal data breach. Then failure to notify the board or the data principal about the personal data. These are related to the data fiduciary. They are supposed to pay it. And failure to notify the board of or the data principal, that is penalties up to 200 crores. Then failure to observe additional obligations regarding the children's data, penalties up to 200 crores. Failure to observe additional obligations to SDF, of SDF means the significant data fiduciaries, that is penalties up to 150 crores. Breach in observing duties, penalties up to 10,000 rupees. Breach in observing duties, that is up to 10,000 rupees. You can apply to data principal also. A breach of any term of voluntary undertaking accepted by the board under Section 32 of the Act, up to the extent applicable for the breach respective of which the proceeding under Section 28 wherever applicable. Then the breach of any other provision of the rule of the Act, that is penalties up to 50 crores. And if you look at the breach, it is defined as any unauthorized processing of personal data or accidental disclosure acquisition, sharing, use, alteration, destruction, or loss of access to personal data that compromise the confidentiality, integrity, or availability of the person. This is actually a definition given in the DPDP Act for personal data breach. Now, general data protection regulation, that is European Union, it is there, no? That everybody knows. And there is a comparison between these two, no? In the case of applicability, all kinds of personal data is applicable under GDPR. But if you look at DPDP, only digital data is applicable under this. Only digital personal data is covered. And 13 to 16 years, children depend on the state laws. But here, our thing is that the minimum age of the consent is 18 years. Then sensitive personal data is covered, but sensitive data, personal data is not covered or not defined. We have defined the personal data, but sensitive personal data is not defined in DPDP. Lays down 7 data processing principles actually in GDPR, but that is not there in DPDP. How to process the data and all. Now, mandate strict data localization, but data localization is not included in our DPDP Act. And 2 to 4% is worldwide turnover, and 10 to 20 million euro is the data localization, the penalty. But if you look at the maximum penalty just shared is 250 crores. And penalties are credited to affected data subjects in the case of GDPR. But here it is going to Government of India. That is another thing. Now, I'm going to conclude my session. The future of artificial intelligence, of course, that that AI is everywhere. Artificial intelligence is becoming ubiquitous in daily life, and human AI collaboration is coming, working together to enhance productivity and creativity. And emotionally aware AI is coming. Next is that thing. AI systems recognizes and respond to human emotions. Responsible AI, accelerated speed of innovation, and climate change concerns. These are all part of the future of AI. Of course, climate change is a major issue because our topic is not that. I'm not going to that topic actually. And privacy risks. So if you go to this kind of future artificial, there are privacy risks also. Invisible data collection. That is another thing. There won't be any information regarding the data collection, but still it will take the data. AI embedded in daily life could silently harvest personal data. Re-identification of anonymized data. AI can combine data set to reveal identities and model inversion attacks. Emotionally aware AI used for manipulation, and emotional profiling is there, and surveillance creep is there. These are the things that we are going to face. And some of the tips that we can make use of the AI every day: limited data, you limit your data sharing. Then check privacy settings always. Whenever you use the AI tools and all, check for privacy settings. Update and secure your machines, and separate accounts. Suppose you are using your account for account in the sense Gmail account, normal things, that in some one good one morning your data will be lost from your mail account also. So try to create a new account when use when you interact with the AI. Use privacy tools and opt out of training the settings, and you can check it. Always try before using it, check whether this particular thing is disabled or not. And never share your sensitive data, never share your personal data, never share the creative works and intellectual property, financial information, usernames and passwords, your own chats. One thing is that even if we take presentations to professionals or educated people, so if you look at the crimes, this happened to the educated youth and professionals and all. Every day, like suppose you come to know that 20 crore is gone, 50 crore is gone. Recently there was a news that a judge whose 90 lakhs rupees have been taken through this online trading and all. 90 lakhs. He has just retired and he started using this. So the point I want to share is that even though I know that this everybody is known to this information. We never share this information, but all of a sudden somebody is calling you, making you believing that they are calling from bank and all. So I have sent a code, OTP and all. Please share it. You will share it. That is what actually happening in the reality. So that is only this sharing and all. And privacy, actually the privacy matters. That that protect your privacy, and there is an international data privacy day that is January 28. And this lady, I think most of Brittany Kaiser, she has defined something like, we are the producers of the world's most valuable assets, yet data is the only asset class where the producers of that asset have absolutely no rights to its value. We are the producers of the data. we are giving our data for, I mean, training and all. Still, we don't have the rights to its value, and we are not paid also. So with this, let me recap and key takeaways from this section. I think I have discussed with the risk, challenges, solutions, and roles in terms of governments, rules, business, individuals. And thank you all for listening me. You have any questions, I can just listen to it, and if I know, I can answer. And that's all from my side. Thank you all for listening to me. If any questions, please. Shibu sir.
Yes, Dr. Satheesh. Let's see whether there are questions from the participants. Anyway, your session was really informative, and let's participants, if you have got questions, please type in the chat window or just unmute your mic and Dr. Satheesh, it looks like there are no more questions from the side of the participants.
Okay.
Yeah, it was in fact a very thoughtful and knowledgeable session from your side, and you are always a security expert, and you have the thoughts that you have shared, or the facts that you have shared, are important not only for the participants who are attending this FDP, but for each and every person, each and every citizen of this country, or each and every world citizen. And to summarize the session, you started with the definition of AI for legal actions, and then different aspects of data privacy. And then you move to the risks associated with the sharing data knowingly or unknowingly. And then the different challenges in managing privacy. You concluded with the solutions and giving an insight about the future of AI. And we are always pleased to have a resource person like you, and your experience actually gives us a lot of information about security in the era of artificial intelligence. We cannot dispense with artificial intelligence for sure, but we have to be vigilant. We have to be very careful that we are not being sold in the market of AI. And once again, from the side of Department of Computer Science and Engineering, Rajiv Gandhi Institute of Technology, let me extend our sincere thanks to Dr. Satheesh. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay. Participants, we know that this is the penultimate day, and we have 3 more sessions tomorrow, and we have an exam that will be mainly an objective exam at the end of the FDC, and we will share the details of the objective exam through our WhatsApp and email groups, and please subscribe to that. Okay, thank you everyone, and have a great night ahead. Thank you.